Here's a post from Charlie Kirk. It says, it's not Islamophobia to notice that a man who wants to globalize the Intifada is about to run America's largest and once greatest city. That was New York City, and it was talking about Zohran Mamdani. It's not Islamophobia to notice that Muslims want to import values into the West that seek to destabilize our civilization. And also, if I may add, based on the video that I shared with you previously, that seek to destroy the American system, right? The freedom of the Americans. It is cultural suicide to stay silent. So for all my folks staying silent, judgment is gonna come. And we can see an example with the LGBTQ community when President Obama came into power and implemented laws that eventually was contradicting the Christian values, right? You're oppressing other people of other faiths, then it's a problem, right? That is not called freedom on the basis of oppressing other people. We saw what happened when the church refused to arise, when the church refused to stay silent, when the church refused to conform to the views of the world and say, oh, I don't want to present myself as being hateful. God loves everybody, right? I understand that part, but God didn't say you should support sin, right? So in the same way, I love the Muslim people, we love the Muslim people, but we are not going to support an ideology, this jihadist, Islamist, or even just the Islamist ideology. I'm just trying to put a separation so that people know that it's not like all Muslims are like that, okay? But we love them, but we're not going to support an ideology that wants to destroy the Western civilization, that wants to bring oppression to women, that wants to bring oppression to young children, that thinks it's okay for a 7-year-old to get married, right? That think it's okay to kill Christians and Jews, right? So if people refuse to stay silent, it's not just only Christians, but if people in general refuse to stay silent at a time like this, judgment is gonna come. Surely they're gonna rise in power. If no one says anything or does anything, surely they're gonna rise in power, and they're gonna put in their laws that oppresses people. And just a random thought, with the LGBT community stuff, can that be considered a religion? Because it's not everybody that supports them. We love them, it's not everybody that supports them. And I strongly believe it should be considered a religion, where, people are free to either say they want to support them or not, and instead of consider it hate. So this is another post by King Adrian Aaron. It says, as a Middle Eastern New Yorker, so this guy's of an Muslim, is a Middle Eastern New Yorker. It says, half my family is Muslim, and I have plenty of Muslim friends, but radical and extreme Islam is a real thing, and there are dangerous people out there, such as there is, he didn't say this, but there's also a thing called Christian cult. And a Christian cult is basically those who use the gospel to propagate their own propaganda, right? And I don't support that. I was once in a Christian cult, and I use my channel to call that cult out, and any other cults that I stumble upon I will call that out, right? So here it says, this is not a surprise. I watch as liberals and leftist people voted in a Muslim mayor who lies continuously to them to gain their votes and applause. Zohran Mamdani is practicing taqiyya. And even experienced conservative New Yorkers who experienced the atrocities of 9/11 have fallen for this propaganda. Less than 30 years later, they elect a Muslim mayor who has taken photographs with terrorists. And you're going to see videos and evidence that I'm going to show of him in support and friends with people who support terrorists or who are terrorists themselves. And currently is actively justifying terrorism, speaking out against Islamophobia instead of violence. New York, it is time to wake up. Next post, it says, Portnoy rips Mamdani's response to Michigan synagogue attack, right? So after Mamdani removed the Protection Act on synagogues in New York City, right, there were multiple attacks in front of synagogues. So after Zohran Mamdani called the Michigan synagogue attack horrifying and pledged increased NYPD patrols at Jewish institution, Dave Patroy said that the attack on Temple Israel on West Bloomfield, Michigan is horrifying. My thoughts are with the congregation and all who are shaken by this act of anti-Semitic violence. I'm continuing to closely monitor the situation out of an abundance of caution. The NYPD will continue to deploy high visibility patrols to Jewish religious and cultural institutions across the 5 boroughs. So here, Mayor Zohran Mamdani is pretending like he cares, saying his heart goes and his thoughts goes to the congregation in Michigan. Then Dave Portnoy says, you know what? When there are terrorist attacks in the US by extremists, I prefer that the same politicians and podcasters who egg them on with nonstop inflammatory rhetoric and by endorsing Hamas rallies and who refuse to condemn phrases like globalized intifada, and who blame everything on Jews, don't try to act surprised or sympathetic when the attacks happen. It's insulting and you're not fooling anybody. I'd rather Mamdani be more like his wife, who probably already smashed the like button a billion times and threw a party at Gracie Mansion. Gosh, I can't speak. I can speak in Jesus' name. At least she owns it. Give me the straightforward hatred rather than the hypocrisy. Previously in prison for trying to support ISIS, what are we even doing here? If you support terrorist group, either stay in jail for life or get kicked out of the country forever. This is what terrorist groups want to do. Kill Americans. Feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I can support him more. Like, just be you. Like, if you hate the Americans, if you hate the Jews, the Christians, why hide it? Of course he's hiding it because he knows he's not gonna be able to rise into power that quick, because he's gonna be removed from power with immediate effect, because a leader can straight up say, oh, I hate this group of people, right? So he's putting up an act. He's putting on a mask, pretending that he cares. He doesn't care. Behind closed doors, he doesn't care. He's the one that removed the Protection Act, that signed a document removing protection for protests in front of synagogues. And because he did that, it's escalated. As an Iranian, I warned that Mamdani follows the same Islamist leftist cult that destroyed Iran through the 1979 Islamist leftist revolution, and his agenda aims to destroy American values. This boy has the same ideology and speech patterns of the Islamists who took Iran hostage in 1979. It started with free this, free that, then slowly moved into state-sponsored discrimination and quickly morphed into full dictatorship and repression. And that's what we're seeing in America, where Zohran Mamdani, well, specifically in New York City and probably other states where CARE put in their leaders, but we see that Zohran Mamdani is promoting free things, but the goal again is to turn New York City into a communist state. American citizens and New Yorkers, be warned. This chapter will have a dark ending if you don't put a stop to it soon. Gosh, I'm sighing because I'm just really praying that people hear this. It's my prayer that people hear this. I put a quote here. I just put a statement here. He pretends like he loves everyone. No, he is strong on his belief and he's practicing taqiyya. He may not show it now during his mayoral run, right? But if he was to get into power, oh my goodness, that is gonna switch real quick. You're gonna see the flip side. But again, it's not too late to stop it, New York. It's not too late to stop it, America. Here's another video.
Why is Mamdani dangerous, not just for New York City only, but for the whole country, and what just took place in New York?
Oh, there are any number of reasons. One is that Mamdani is a Twelver Shiite Muslim, and that is the official religion of the Islamic Republic of Iran. In the Islamic Republic of Iran, the mullahs order the people to shout "Death to America" in the mosques every Friday. This is, the supreme leader of Iran said, this is not just a slogan, this is the mission and goal of our entire regime.
Guys, I just Googled if the previous Ayatollah Khomeini is a Shia Muslim. And guess what? He is a Shia Muslim. That says a lot. So we know where he stands. We know his true intention. God revealed it through Prophetess Jasmine. And he also showed me his heart in a dream. And we know what the Shia Muslim stands for. These are the group of Muslims that are shouting "Death to America" in the mosque every Friday.
Death to America. So you have Mamdani holding the same ideology as mayor of New York. We already have had assassination squads from the Islamic Republic of Iran come to New York City to murder an Iranian dissident there, a prominent one, Masih Alinejad. Now, what is Mayor Mamdani going to do if the Iranians decide to send another assassination squad or a dirty bomb or any number of other things? There is no indication that he would side with Americans and New Yorkers over against the people that he's actually ideologically and religiously aligned with.
He's aligned with this people, with this jihadist ideology, religiously and also politically.
Very clearly, I will not defund the police.
I am in favor of defunding the police. I want to speak to the memory of my aunt, who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab.
I was speaking about Zerafui, my father's cousin.
I don't really have opinions about the future of Hamas and Israel beyond the question of justice and safety.
The struggle for Palestinian liberation was at the core of my politics and continues to be.
I am not, and nor have I ever called for the legalization of prostitution.
Do you support decriminalizing prostitution?
Yes.
My fundamental belief that sex work is work.
I would be happy to work with the president and the administration.
What we need to be doing here in our city is to end the chapter of collaboration between City Hall and the federal government.
I don't believe that the role of the mayor is to police speech.
There are consequences for speaking up in favor of apartheid.
Video, if you guys are probably trying to understand what's going on, this was what he said when he was running for mayor, right? To kind of present himself as someone who's good and who loves everybody, who's for everybody. But before that, he has said some things that is against the American system. And I'm not sure why he's saying that the struggle of the Palestinian country, I think that's what he said, is at his core belief. So the point I'm trying to drive out with this is that why is another country the core of your politics? The American people, the struggle of the American people, the struggle of the American youth, right, should be the core of your politics, not another country. And it doesn't matter if is about Palestine. It could be about China. It could be about North Korea. It could be about Nigeria. It could be about Ghana. It could be about any other country, but that shouldn't be the core of your politics, especially if you're running in a different country. If you're running for a leadership position, right, in America, the core of your politics should be any struggle related to the American people.
We can't take any more of your money. Truly, you need to stop. Remember how I told you a few months ago to stop sending us money? You can start again.
There are many parades that I would not be attending because I'd be focusing on the work of leading this city.
Fox, Eagle Line! New York 1, Eagle Line!
Right here, right here, right here, right here!
The first foreign visit by a mayor of New York is always considered significant. Where would you go first?
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
This is the first Jamaat that I have been to since we won our election on Tuesday. If anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him.
Do you know who the true betrayer is? Zohran Mamdani. Put in a smile, deceiving people. But man, if he was to get into the highest power in America, you're gonna see an oppressive America. You've seen what happened in other countries. I think I listed them in my previous video. How countries who were dominantly Christians were overtaken by this extremist Muslims, and how they oppress the people there. So if America is not careful, and we can see that happening in the UK right now, but if America is not careful, if America doesn't do anything, that's what's gonna happen. And speaking of which, I'm gonna share a dream that actually the first dream that God revealed to me, that gave me the revelation of everything that is happening in America. Now, I don't know every single thing, but even if it's just a little thing that God showed me that I can share, that could be of some sort of help, you know, I'm willing to do that, and that's what I'm doing currently. But I'm going to share that first dream, and I'll give you a understanding and interpretation of that dream.
We did reach out to the White House.
I appreciate the meeting with the president.
A campaign that is truly grassroots powered.
CARE Super PAC was the largest institutional donor to the pros.
So this video is
Islam, a religion built upon a narrative of migration. The story of the Hijrah reminds us that Prophet Muhammad was a stranger too, who fled Mecca and was welcomed in Medina. Surah An-Nahl 1642 tells us, as for those who immigrated in the cause of Allah after being persecuted, we will surely bless them with a good home in this world. As the Prophet Muhammad said, Islam began as something strange and will go back to being strange.
Zohran Mamdani has quickly become more dangerous than I feared. I was shocked when I first heard this speech. Honestly, at first I thought it was fake, because we've never heard him speak quite like this. He blew right past socialist talking points and built a political speech around Islamic rhetoric and the story of Al-Hijra, a message designed to soften the way New Yorkers see mass migration and, more disturbingly, a dog whistle to radical Islamists. Despite the dulcet tone and that smarmy grin, here's what you need to understand. The Hijra was not Muhammad's peaceful flight from persecution that Western academia and Mamdani would have you believe. Hijra marked the birth of militarized offensive jihad.
So literally, Zohran Mamdani is exposing himself. So he supports political jihad. Okay. I mean, I hope at this point you guys get it. For those who are still ignorant or in disbelief or saying, oh no, you're hating on this guy, I hope you guys still get it, but we're gonna keep going with all the evidences that have piled up.
a political movement merged with Islam built around conquest and the subjugation of non-Muslims, not peaceful migration. The era that followed was not some Hallmark story. Al-Hijra was marked by the slaughter of hundreds and the rape and enslavement of captives, both Jews and non-Jews. The Hijra ignited 1,000 years of Islamic imperialism and colonialism. It codified apartheid in a constitution where non-Muslims were lesser citizens who suffered humiliations and were compelled to pay a jizya tax. Prohibitions on church bells, on clothing, horses, and weapons. Non-Muslims couldn't even testify against Muslims. The Hijra made jihad central to Islam. It laid the groundwork for Sharia law. So when Mamdani gets elected speaking the language of progressives, inclusion, justice, compassion, and then stands up as mayor of New York City to celebrate Hijra as a model for migration and extol its virtues, that should send shockwaves through your brain. Because this is how ideological capture works. You come in through the front door of democracy using ideological buzzwords, and then start injecting dangerous policies while reframing and manipulating the system from the inside. Masking his malicious intent with liberal code words is all it took to placate New York's useful idiots. They think they're hearing a sweet story. They fail to see he's not giving us a pleasant anecdote. He's running tequila. Strategic deception using tolerance as cover. New York doesn't need a mayor teaching the Hijra like it's a modern civic lesson. New York and America needs leaders who defend American values, Western liberties, and won't manipulate history to push radical agendas.
You know, guys, I'm just thinking, shouldn't there be a law that can prevent such thing, that can still protect democratic court proceedings, but can also address such critical and urgent matter where there's an infiltration in your country that is basically treason?
Was an organizer of SJP at Bowdoin College in Maine. Students for Justice in Palestine, and ISGAP has written several reports on SJP. SJP comes out of AMP. AMP is the American Muslims for Palestine. This is a Muslim Brotherhood group. SJP comes out of the Muslim Brotherhood. Most Americans, and even American Jews and Jewish organizations, don't understand the importance of this connection. But we need to understand the mind of our enemies. Our enemies understand us. They speak our languages. They know our political culture. Mamdani is the product, he's the second generation of Muslim Brotherhood influence in the United States.
Listen, second generation of influence in the Muslim Brotherhood group. Went to the best universities.
He went to the best universities. He is a highly educated, smart man of conviction. His convictions are to destroy the state of Israel because he comes out of the Muslim Brotherhood ideology. And for Jewish organizations to engage them is really a profound mistake. We need to understand the mind of our enemies and know where they're coming from. We need to speak their languages, understand their ideology, understand their religious, strategic views, their political views. And then once we understand them, we can come up with strategies to deal with them. So I think understanding the source of the problem is so important. And when we understand the source, we can develop strategies to combat the anti-Semitism.
You can see how it ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, right? You can see how it ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. They're his backing. And you're going to see how the Muslim Brotherhood ties into Qatar. That's why, again, as he mentioned, he's a Trojan horse. And also, as I'd like to call it, and I think somebody might have mentioned this, he's the poster child for their agenda. But let's go to the next video and see how Qatar ties to Muslim Brotherhood. Because again, remember in the dream that I mentioned earlier, God showed me how this guy identifies with Qatar, right? And you can probably see how like the sister was promoting his campaign on her social media account. And it probably goes deeper than that when the Prime Minister came during the time he won the campaign. But yeah, this is how Qatar relates to the Muslim Brotherhood.
Islam is a spiritual oath to the Muslim Brotherhood. Yosef Qaradawi, who was the spiritual head of the Brotherhood for many years, always preached that the true believer the true Muslim, is obligated to complete the work of Hitler.
To complete the work of Hitler.
This character was welcomed by the British establishment, and he helped to create, he was the founding director of Islamic studies in my alma mater at Oxford University. Welcomed into, the upper echelons of, the British establishment.
Assalamu alaikum. Enormous pride to pay tribute to this remarkable center.
So is it any wonder that Middle East studies at Oxford or Islamic studies at Oxford, these very important institutions, are turning out apologists for the Muslim Brotherhood, apologists for Hamas, apologists for the Iranian Revolutionary regime at places like Oxford, at Yale, and other centers? We estimate that they're playing with over $1 trillion in assets to invest in Western institutions to influence Western society.
So they're using money. The Qatar people are using money to infiltrate the Western system.
In case you didn't know, there was an actual ISIS-inspired terrorist attack in New York City on Sunday. The craziest part about this entire thing, the most disturbing part, which will send a shiver down your spine, is Mamdani's response to it. There was a far-right anti-Islam protest in front of Gracie Mansion where Zohran Mamdani lives. And at the counter-protest, there were two young Muslim men who, shouting Allahu Akbar, threw two explosives into the protesting crowd. And it's like a nightmare. This was Mamdani's response. Yesterday, white supremacist Jake Lang organized a protest outside Gracie Mansion rooted in bigotry and racism. Such hate has no place in New York City. It is an affront to our city's values and the unity that defines who we are. What follows was even more disturbing. Violence in a protest is never acceptable. The attempt to use an explosive device and hurt others is not only criminal, it is reprehensible and the antithesis of who we are. Do you understand that he's making it sound like the right-wing people were violent? He doesn't mention Islamic terrorist attack, terror. Nothing. He doesn't mention it at all. If you didn't know what happened, you would think that there was a right-wing protest and those right-wing protesters were violent. Because it's as if the Muslim young men who tried to blow people up, they don't even exist. He mentions Jake Lang's name. Why doesn't he mention the names of the two Muslim men who tried to blow people up? Why didn't he mention that there's no room in New York City for Muslim terrorists? I don't agree with the far-right people either, but what they did was legal. They weren't violent. These are terrorists. Why is there space in New York City for them?
So basically, he's using a play on words. Not like literally play on words, but he's kind of framing it to seem like the attack was coming from Jake Lang, right? He's not outrightly saying like, hey, this group of people are the one that caused the disruption. And of course he wouldn't say that because, that's his true intention. We know who he is supporting. So here is what someone said concerning this group of Muslim leaders are saying concerning Zohran Mamdani, jihadist Muslims.
Of somebody like Mamdani, it is a game changer. We need somebody like Mamdani to be the mayor of New York. And that is a victory for the Ummah. And if you don't understand this, then honestly you need to rethink through your understanding of civilizational strength. Everybody has a role to play. Muftis have a role to play, and politicians have the role to play. The governor of one of the largest states of the world, Texas, the guy tried 8 times to shut our project down. He failed miserably at every single level, and the project is still going full steam ahead. We employed our lobbyists, money in the lobby. You have to do this reality. Our biggest weakness is our percentage in this country. By the way, this is only in this country. Across the Western world, mashallah, tabarakallah, percentages are rising to the point of it's terrifying them. Sweden, 10% Muslim. Oslo, Norway, 10% Muslim. Vienna, the Ottoman Turks tried 200 years, they couldn't do anything. Vienna is 10% Muslim, mashallah, tabarakallah. London, 20%. This is a strength of our community.
So you see how they're just showing off, right? They're showing off, saying how they're overtaking the land. But I wanted to highlight, you see how they are in support of Zohran Mamdani being a mayor? Because Zohran Mamdani supports this dangerous ideology of taking over, ruling the land, and oppressing people. And if you guys don't understand, as he said to their community, if you don't understand, then like, what are you doing? And I say to you guys, if you don't understand what's happening, I don't know what you're doing. United States is being taken over by extremist people that want to destroy America. What are we doing?
I guess nobody finds it disturbing that the mayor of this city, who happens to be best friends with Hassan Piker, the activist that says America deserved 9/11.
America deserved 9/11, dude. I'm saying it.
America deserves 9/11? What? Just what? And you can see in one of the previous videos that I shared with you, they were putting their mats. I don't know who, but exactly, but people were putting their mats on the memorial grave of those who sacrificed themselves to save lives on 9/11.
A memorial! 3,000 New Yorkers! And he laughs in our face! His best friend! Every day he says, America deserved 9/11.
I don't have any sort of patriotism in my heart.
Cops that died, firemen, innocent people. And this is gonna lay a wreath? A fucking wreath? And laugh at us?
You support terrorism, question mark? No, I don't. I don't support the United States of America. Mao Zedong is one of the great leaders of this world, okay?
This piece of radical Muslim said that every day America deserved 9/11. And he's best friends with Mayor Mamdani.
No, you're in great shape. I'm not glazing. I'm serious.
Here, you want this?
Yeah.
I haven't used it.
We can, come on. Socialism. Socialism, baby.
Who else? Okay, don't dab me up.
No, sorry, my bad.
Disgusting. I'm the last New Yorker with balls.
First of all, I think that I don't think America deserved 9/11.
You're wrong.
Oh, well.
My fucking First Amendment right to speak the fucking truth. Then nobody's got the balls now.
Empires never die quietly, and we must end the American empire regardless.
I'm a propaganda.
Well, no.
For the record.
I'm not calling
I'm a propaganda.
Great, cheers. There we go.
Nobody cares? Nobody gives a shit. I guess nobody finds it.
Like, for real, I can imagine Zohran Mamdani laughing behind the scenes like, these people, they don't know who they voted for.
Like to see Sharia law in Canada replace Canadian law? At some point it will. You know, because we have families, we are making babies. You're not. Your population is going down the slump. That's right? Yeah. And by 2060, according to Pew Research Institute, your research, by 2060, Muslims will be the biggest religious group the world over. What are you going to do then? Actually, go oppose Sharia even then? You do want a Muslim majority nation in the West End, correct? Just like you had a Western majority nation in the land of Native Americans, one day we can have a Muslim majority nation here in Canada. Right in your face. We have Canadian law here, and you say that you want Sharia law to displace Canadian law. That doesn't sound very respectful. In majority, you wouldn't have any other option.
The United Kingdom will be a Muslim majority country in the next 20 years.
1,000%.
London already is.
While Christians are aborting their babies, killing their babies, making their kids gay and homosexual, getting the rest of the young people who happen to escape abortion, they trans themselves and cut and butcher their body parts. Islam is spreading like a virus. Have you been to London's town recently?
Now, the most common baby name in London is
Muhammad.
what? Most
Mohammed.
common baby name in Dublin is what?
Muhammad.
The most common baby name in Copenhagen is
Muhammad.
It is a religion of conquest, and it is not a conspiracy theory. It is a stated doctrine of the Hadith.
Literally.
To take over new lands.
We need to stop this lie that Islam that took over Egypt, took over Israel, and Israel took the nation back, that took over Syria, that took over Syria, that took over Algeria, took over Jordan, that took over Saudi Arabia, that took over Iran, that took over Afghanistan.
And now all of Europe, and Indonesia, and most of Africa.
And
This
Malaysia.
It is a religion of conquest.
This is just more clips to prove the plan of invasion that this extremist people
organize the effort to reshape America from within, then you need to watch this. This is the executive director of CARE laying out what he believes the future in the United States should look like.
The Muslim community is underrepresented in the media, in the legal profession, in filmmaking, in political science, and in history teaching in the United States. Because of this, the image of Islam has been under attack for generations. It has led to Islamophobia, and American Muslims have to step in and change that relationship. But we cannot do it only by being in the streets. We have to be in the halls of Congress. We have to be in the newsrooms. We have to be in the classrooms. We have to be in the books. And we have to be in the courts and in the courts of public opinion. We have to be organized, and we have to be good planners, because this is really the essence of our faith. So here's the homework. We have 4,000 mosques nationwide. I urge every mosque, and take this message to your board of directors of the mosques and your imams. Every mosque should have a special fund for scholarship. 5 scholarships every year. 1 scholarship for journalism, another one for filmmaking, a 3rd one for law, a 4th one for political science, a 5th one for history and humanities. If we start in 2025, 4 years from now, we are going to have 4,000 new attorneys for the Muslim community, 4,000 new filmmakers, 4,000 journalists, 4,000 students of political science, and 4,000 potential teachers of history. In 15 years from now, if we are persistent, we will end up with 50,000 more attorneys for the Muslim community.
Again, in this video where she shares about this guy speaking about like, okay, we need to put students, we need to support students in all these industries. Again, from a general perspective, it might seem like, okay, they want to support their people, why not, right? And that's okay to support your community. But again, it's dangerous when that specific ideology wants to oppress people, wants to destroy a system that already provides freedom for people, right? And now change it into a system, again, where it oppresses people. Again, it's not bad to support your own community, but if your community is going to oppress people, then there's no need to be in power. As simple as that.